lagging on crane number 5.
This is a place where the work comes down hard and fast.
You know, there's one of those moments where you say, come on, let's go, let's go.
One false step could spell disaster.
There's big containers, moving equipment, heavy objects, falling objects.
Perfect.
This is the Port of Los Angeles, West Coast gateway to the North American economy like you've never seen it before. Millions of tons on the move.
Very challenging, and they're big.
A fortune to be made and lost.
When that crane stops working, we're losing money.
Only the tough make it.
You either love the job or it's going to kill you.
Inside this massive operation, it's non-stop action, day and night. And the clock is always ticking. Los Angeles, city of dreams, and home to the biggest container port in North America, the Port of Los Angeles. Every day, the port's 13,000 workers move more than $500 million worth of cargo across these wharfs. Over 20,000 shipping containers packed with everything from car parts to frozen food to furniture are unloaded by cranes working 24/7, loaded onto trucks or trains, and sent all over the continent. Tens of thousands more are stacked in storage yards waiting to be shipped. Chances are every home in North America contains something shipped through these waters and unloaded on these docks. This enormous economic nerve center is spread across more than 1,700 hectares of land and more than 1,200 hectares of water. 9 separate container terminals take in cargo from all over Asia and around the globe. The port's cruise terminal sees nearly 1 million passengers pass through each year. If disaster hit, like an earthquake or a terrorist attack, and the port were shut down, the U.S. economy would take a $1 billion hit in a single day. Even a delay of a few hours can mean millions of dollars lost, so everyone strives to stay on schedule. A kilometer from shore, a supersized container ship called the Gunvor Maersk is on the last leg of her journey from China. She's carrying 3,400 containers of consumer goods, everything from patio furniture to seafood. The Gunvor is headed to APM, the largest of LA's container terminals. APM Terminals is a sister company to Maersk Line, one of the biggest shipping companies in the world. But to get there, her captain must turn the helm over to this man.
Thank you. East 50 all stations, Los Angeles.
Harbor pilot Kerry DeMatos.
Gunvor Maersk, approaching buoy number 2. We're inbound Los Angeles. Maersk Terminal 402, starboard side 2.
He's one of 13 port pilots trained to safely navigate ships from the open seas through the port's narrow channels to harbor.
Go through a year and a half of training, and in that training time, you drive 1,000 ships. So I've probably driven somewhere around 4,000 or 5,000 ships already.
Moving this over 100,000 metric ton ship is a high-stakes job. A minor fender bender here can be a multi-million-dollar mistake. With the ship underway, Kerry approaches the first challenge of his aquatic obstacle course.
This is a very critical turn right here. You can see this point. It's kind of a can opener. If you turn too early, it's all concrete. So you want to stay a little late, but not too late, because you don't want to end up down on the APL terminal. So the timing is critical coming around this corner here.
To steer the Gunvor around this sharp turn, he'll need help from a small but mighty source.
Chief, tugboat's name is Scout.
Okay, Scout, if you're comfortable, when we get up on number 10 there, I'm going to shoot you power and direct to port. Scout, pull my stern to starboard half. Hard to starboard.
Hard to starboard.
The tugboat will haul the Gunvor's stern sideways so the ship can make the corner.
He's like a water skier. If you've ever had, pulled a water skier behind a boat and they hit the end of that line outside the wake, you can feel the whole back end of the boat move. That's the exact same theory that we have here with this giant ship and that 5,000 horsepower tugboat. He hits the end of the line and we start turning. He can turn us way faster than we can turn ourselves.
Carey's turn is smooth as silk. But guiding the Gunver to harbor is just part of the job.
Way hard to starboard, sir.
Now Carey has to dock this giant vessel without damaging the ship's hull or the wharf.
Midship. Midship.
He must also avoid hitting the cranes waiting to unload the thousands of containers on board.
And we'll try to line the bridge up with that white van.
From the main bridge, his view of the dock is obstructed.
And scout ship to that. Over.
Thank you, Tony.
So he'll steer from a smaller bridge wing on the starboard side of the ship. But now the wind has picked up, pushing the Gunver onto a dangerous path.
3/4 of the ship is catching that wind right now, and it's trying to blow this down like this, which drives you into those cranes or into the dock.
From the bridge wing, Carey counters the wind using the Gunver's stern thrusters. 2 propulsion devices built into the hull that give the ship additional maneuverability. Unlike the ship's main propeller that helps drive the ship forward. These propellers pivot the ship to port or to starboard.
So you have to fight this wind back here the entire time, and that's what we're doing with the thrusters. Hard to port.
Hard to board.
At about a ship, maybe a ship length and a quarter to go before we're in position.
Under Carey's watchful eye, the Gunver Maersk slides into its berth.
Tighten up the lines. We've got the spring lines tight. The head lines and stern lines are going out. Perfect.
Carey makes his job look effortless, but that may not be the case tomorrow, when he'll face the biggest challenge of his career, guiding some of the tallest cranes in the world under the port's bridge, with just a few meters to spare. At APM terminals, the Gunver Maersk is ready to be unloaded. Getting that job started falls to this guy, Joel Manella, master of logistics.
My duty is to manage this operation from start to finish. Every little aspect that goes on, I need to be on top of it and I need to manage it.
APM terminals can move up to 100,000 metric tons of cargo every day, thanks to 14 high-tech cargo cranes and an army of trucks. Joel is responsible for getting cargo on and off these big ships. And he has to make sure it happens on schedule. If things fall behind, a ship could miss its departure time. An expensive mistake.
In other jobs, when 15 minutes goes by and you're sitting at your desk and not doing much, it's no big deal. Here, 15 minutes is thousands of dollars. So any type of lapse in time where nothing's going on is really detrimental to the operation.
It will take 3 full days to offload the Gunver, with 6 cranes and over 800 longshoremen working day and night to discharge and reload thousands of cargo containers, called cans. Tonight, Joel's got a big challenge. The first containers to come off the Gunver are new supersized cans, 16 meters long. Until recently, the biggest containers used were almost 14 meters in length. These larger cans are harder to manipulate and slower to move.
We'd like to see each crane move 30 containers either from the ship or to the ship with 30 moves an hour, 30 times. This, with these 53-footers, it's maybe 20 moves an hour. So it definitely hurts productivity a lot.
Joel relies on the workhorses of this operation, the giant cranes and their operators.
Come on out, Frank. Grab another one. 10-4.
From a cab 49 meters above the dock, crane operator Frank Sardegna has a unique view of the oversized containers.
The first time I think I drove with them, I only did like maybe 16 my first hour, and the last time I drove, I think I did around 25.
Using 2 joysticks and an experienced eye, Frank lowers the crane's gripping mechanism, called a spreader, directly over the container to be unloaded. A signal light tells Frank when the spreader is locked on. As Frank lifts the container and moves it over the dock, His cab slides horizontally along the arm of the crane, keeping him directly over top of the cargo.
Make sure that those lanes between the legs are clear for me when I'm coming out. I know it's going to be hard.
I'll make sure of that, brother.
Then Frank lowers the 13 metric ton container to a waiting truck. But these extra large cans can make the job difficult.
It's really hard to see what you're landing on because they're over width.
Each can must be lined up precisely with the truck's chassis, then lowered onto 2 knobs or cones on the back corners, holding the container in place as the truck moves to the storage yard.
He's floating the load and he's lining up the cones to where they lock on the chassis right there on the corners.
Frank's controls are sensitive, but with these larger cans, his accuracy suffers.
You see, he missed it his first try. He's got to go back and reset it.
A signalman at dock level gives hand directions to help Frank land the container exactly onto the knobs.
There you go.
These larger containers are slowing down Joel's operation. He can't afford any more setbacks tonight. As a cruise ship approaches the harbor, port police make an unexpected discovery.
There's about 20 bags stacked on top of each other. Been diving long enough to know what should be down there.
Any potential threat must be neutralized, or thousands of passengers could be in jeopardy. Port of Los Angeles. Joel Manella's crew of longshoremen offload the Gunvor Maersk. Crane operators have finished discharging the cumbersome 16-meter containers. Now they're working on the next size down, the 14-meter cans. That's good news for Joel. The pace can pick up.
Literally, that took 15 seconds from the time he locked onto the container on the ship until the time he landed it on the bottom card. You can see it. It's being discharged and landed much, much faster.
With his shift about to end, Joel checks in with his supervisor.
Forward crane's already done 73 moves, so we're a little behind, but we'll be there by the end of the night. Yard's looking good.
Joel will be back tomorrow night, and the next, as crews strive to keep the Gunvor Maersk on track for its departure 3 days from now. Just before dawn, Port of LA police are on a mission to secure the port's cruise terminal from a potential terrorist threat.
Topside Mulaney, radio check.
This is the man heading up the operation, Scott Keane, protector of the deep. He and his crew run random checks of the harbor before a cruise ship arrives.
Roger, 998. Topside, tags, radio check.
Scott and his team will scour Pier 93 for IEDs, or improvised explosive devices.
Pier that they're going to search is approximately 1,000 feet long. The bottom depth can range from 40 to 50 feet generally, depending on the tide. And it takes us in about 25 to 30 minutes at the tops.
This massive cruise ship, carrying 2,800 passengers, is scheduled to dock here just after sunrise. It's a potential target. Scott and his team must ensure these passengers are not at risk.
The dive team has been through extensive training on what explosives are out there and what terrorists are using.
Scott keeps tabs on his divers using an underwater communication system built into their masks.
Topside Pagans, radio check.
I'm going to descend here.
Topside, copy.
The dive team searches the pier's pilings for anything out of the ordinary.
Been diving long enough to know what should be down there. Barnacles, kelp, starfish. Any man-made item that would stand out like a sore thumb.
Like these bags. Officer Ryan Mullaney surfaces to give Scott a briefing.
At 30 feet, there's about 20 bags stacked on top of each other, and they're completely solid in nature. This is a cruise terminal. It's high security, and it's not a common object at all.
They could be explosives. The divers descend again, approaching cautiously to get a closer look. Minutes later, they surface.
So they're just wrapped around the pilings.
Okay, just
You're actually when you should not do that.
Okay.
It's just perfectly stacked up.
Perfectly stacked up. Okay.
These aren't IEDs. The bags are full of cement.
They're consistent with the commercial divers that use sandbags along the port to reinforce certain things. So yeah, it was probably left over from a job that was recent.
Scott clears the ship for arrival.
C-85, berth 93 is clear. Pier sweep is complete. Ready to bring the ship in.
This big ship glides into her berth unharmed. With the vessel safely docked, 2,800 passengers disembark. An equal number line up to get on board. 270 metric tons of provisions must be loaded with them.
Wilkin, you copy?
Go ahead, Casey.
And this man has to make it happen.
Well, I like to get him here on location because as soon as the luggage is off, we really have to move on the mattresses.
Wilkin Mess, combination traffic cop, diplomat, and troubleshooter.
There's always something that throws you off in your scheduling and in your planning.
His job is to ensure that all passengers, luggage, and provisions are on board in time for the scheduled departure.
The ship really is going to sail at 4:45 today. I mean, that is the planning. We have to hold on to that, regardless.
If he falls behind, there'll be hell to pay. Disgruntled passengers, an angry cruise line, and lost revenue for the terminal. Wilkin's job is on the line.
Well, 5 minutes we can deal with. Half hour is problematic.
But today, his usual to-do list is loaded down with an extra assignment.
Special day today. This ship is going to exchange mattresses today, 1,000 of them. So there's almost a quarter of all the mattresses on board for the passengers. So it's a big project because it has to happen between that the people leave the ship and come on board.
To make matters worse, he's short-staffed.
It's a cascading effect. I mean, if the day doesn't start right, you're going to feel it still in late afternoon.
To make his deadline, Wilkin rallies the ship's crew to assist with the mattresses. But this is unionized turf. Dockside labor rules restrict who can work here.
In general, ship's crew is not allowed to work on the wharf, on the dock. However, they are allowed to work on platforms, on gangways.
Wilkin finds a creative solution. He sets up a raised platform for the crew to work from. If their feet don't touch terra firma, they aren't breaking any rules.
This is for the crew. Yeah. Okay, so this guy's got to get out. Yeah.
A truck is ready to unload.
Sorry.
But it's the wrong one.
They want the passenger mattresses first, so I have to put you on standby, okay? These are crew mattresses. Passenger mattresses have to go first because, you know, those cabins have to be ready.
Another change of plans, that's all.
The swap eats up time.
You know, there's one of those moments where you say, come on, let's go, let's go. But you just have to be patient, you know? It takes a few minutes, just let it roll. Start? Yeah, go ahead.
But it's not smooth sailing yet. Wilkin is still missing one truckload of mattresses. They are stuck at security. There's something suspicious on the truck.
Prepare to scan, clear the area. We've got a dark solid. It looks like a drum with liquid in it.
Until port police know what's in the mysterious barrel, Wilkin's shipment is going nowhere. At the port of Los Angeles, cruise terminal manager Wilkin Mess is rushing to get this ship ready for her afternoon departure. But a truck carrying mattresses for the ship is held up at security. Sergeant Nathan Ewart is the port's frontline defender. Today, he's heading up a squad of 30 port police. He's the one who's got this truck pulled aside. One obvious place for a security breach is inside trucks delivering goods to departing ships.
All the vehicles you see out here, all the cargo vehicles, they're going to be scanned. K9's going to sniff for bombs. They'll do a vehicle inspection.
So Sergeant Ewert and his team use a mobile X-ray cargo scanning unit to verify the contents of every delivery vehicle.
CSU units are clear for scan.
Prepare to scan, clear the area. Prepare to scan, clear the area.
As officers Brent Grieger and Frank Huang guide the scanner over the truck, their screen reveals something suspicious.
A dark solid. It looks like a drum with liquid in it.
Scanning complete, stand by.
Does it say anything about any drum?
I don't think so, Brad.
The only thing that should be on this truck are mattresses headed for the cruise ship.
We're gonna have to call secondary on this one.
Yeah, okay.
Nathan summons an enforcement team to take a closer look.
They're opening up the back and they're investigating what actually is in the drum and why it was not on the manifest. So it's under suspicion at this point.
The inspection will take time. Time Wilkin can't afford to lose.
At this pace, we're not making it.
This officer uses a chemical reader to determine if the drum contains explosive material.
We're not going on based on whatever the driver says, because if he's up to no good, we have to verify that somehow. What do we got?
Turns out it's developing fluid for photographs.
What'd the driver say? Why was it on here?
He's doing delivery to Fontana, so.
Oh, so he has a second.
The driver is scheduled to deliver the drum to another destination after unloading the mattresses.
Plastic. Okay. So we're clear then?
Okay, clear.
Okay. Yeah, you're just gonna go straight on through, sir. Okay, have a safe day, all right?
The truck and driver are cleared to proceed.
Okay.
Now Wilkin can get the rest of the mattresses loaded. But getting them on board is just the first hurdle. Wilkin's workers still have to get the mattresses into the cabins, and this ship is as big as 4 city blocks.
The problem sits in the fact that they need to put it on elevators. 5, 6 at a time in an elevator and up to all those decks, and that's the problem. That's the time-consuming part. Hey Joe, so this is the 4 last truck, right?
The last truck, and then we have 2 more empty trucks that we have to load up the old mattress.
Okay, so we're on schedule.
We're on schedule.
At last, Wilkin can open the gangway for 2,800 excited passengers. Their crews will depart on time. But there's little time for backslapping.
We gotta do this again next week.
Next week again?
Mattresses. Oh yeah, it's 2 trip.
Again 1,000?
I believe
okay.
so.
At the port of LA, the work never stops. Back at APM, the port's busiest container terminal, a ship called the Horizon Tiger has arrived from Shanghai, carrying a cargo of clothing, footwear, and fireworks. Before the ship sails tonight, dock workers must offload, sort and stack over 500 containers, then load another 100 cans back on. But the job's already behind schedule. The Tiger arrived in port 4 hours late. Making up for lost time will be the job of this woman.
APM Terminals, this is Estrella.
Estrella Esquivel, Assistant Operations Manager for this daytime shift.
Today, the objective is to sail it. Basically, it's the bottom line. Everyday objective is to sail the ship, because we don't ever want to miss a ship sailing. If you're a system manager working at a ship and you miss a sailing, it's like I failed, for the day.
Estrella must keep a close eye on 2 square kilometers of dockyard, 85 workers, and over 500 valuable shipping containers. Small delays can ripple down the entire production line, affecting everything. From the gantry cranes that offload the containers, to the trucks that transport the containers to the stacks, to the top loaders that place the containers in the stacks. The Tiger's late arrival means Estrella is already behind schedule. Now, she's facing another setback.
Why are you guys all staring intently? What's going on? Oh.
A truck has pulled up to refuel the ship.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, where do you want them?
But it's parked directly underneath the cranes, already offloading containers. It's a recipe for disaster.
So, fuel truck, we can't go over the fuel truck with the cargo. You know, if something were to fall, major issue, major blow up.
Either the truck must move or the cranes must stop working. Estrella checks in with Chris Aranga, crew boss for today's team of dock workers.
Are you happy with that, Chris? No? Where do you want them? Hey guys, how long? How long do you need to be here? An hour? We might have to have you guys fuel up later and have to get this off.
Estrella offers to bump the fuel truck.
Sorry. He can come back later. This ship's going to be here. They can come nightside if we need to. Cranes take priority. You know, production takes priority. So if I can't accommodate him with where this crane is going, I'll cut him off and make him leave and come back later.
Chris decides to change the order of the offload instead.
So no, let him stay in 38. Let him stay in 38 on, 38 below.
The cranes shift to another section of the ship, rolling along rail lines set into the wharf. It's a good compromise that keeps the operation moving. But Estrella knows the relief is only temporary. The Port of LA is set to receive 4 brand new cranes, some of the tallest in the world. Getting them into port is a complex and delicate task.
Your mind is going until you're tied up. You're thinking constantly, what if?
We're lined up now, we're in position, go ahead.
There's no room for error. As traffic builds at the Port of LA, Scott Keane and his police dive crew gear up for a major security reconnaissance. This morning, they will patrol some 3 kilometers of waterway encompassed by the port.
Okay, very good. Then we'll start there and we'll go from there.
Like their earlier mission at Pier 93, they're searching for potential terrorist threats. But that's not all.
You're not down there looking at fish and collecting shells. You're down there recovering bodies, looking for narcotics potentially, knives, weapons, and usually you can't see very good.
Visibility is poor, but Scott's team has an extra set of eyes. Port police have recently acquired a sophisticated package of underwater sensing technology, on par with what the U.S. Navy has. The equipment includes a side-scan sonar device they call the Fish.
It gives us the ability to tow it behind our vessel here, and it scans the bottom of the seabed.
As it's pulled through the water, the Fish emits sonar pulses that echo off the floor of the channel. The bounce back is translated into a continuous sonic image of the seabed, displayed on board the patrol boat. Scott and his team scrutinize the monitor for anything out of the ordinary.
This right here is definitely something man-made, but rebounding a lot of sound. Real hard object.
Okay. Like the image on the screen right now.
Definitely has the shape of a vessel. Looks like we definitely have a vessel here.
Something man-made.
Scott needs to get a closer look. He puts another piece of the new equipment to work. The ROV, an underwater robot equipped with a camera and an arm for retrieving submerged objects.
Recently had a body recovery actually right up here in the channel. We use this ROV to go down to the body, grab onto a piece of clothing on the body on the bottom, and that claw's strength, we were able to pull everything up, the body, ROV, together.
The ROV allows the team to view an object up close without having to approach it in person, in case it poses any danger. The video feed from the ROV confirms Scott's initial assessment. The object is a small boat. And there's not just one, there are 5.
Right here's a sailboat. You can see the mast, the hull, another boat, and so on and so on.
Looks like they've been down there for decades. Without the new equipment, they may have lain undetected for years more. Scott needs to get some kind of identification off the boats, like a registration number, so he can identify the owners.
So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and activate the divers. We'll send them down.
An umbilical cord attached to the ROV helps the divers locate the vessels in the murky depths.
The vessel is just off to your right. Continue ahead another 5 feet. You should be on the vessel.
And on one of the boats, they find an ID number.
Solid copy. All right, divers, go ahead and surface.
It's enough to start an investigation.
If somebody dumped it, if it was been stolen, we'll find out once we run it. And we'll go from there. After that, we'll set up a salvage operation and get the vessel out of the port and take it to be demolished.
This discovery was unexpected, but harmless. Scott knows in these waters, the next threat could be right around the corner. Just outside the port, harbor pilot Kerry DeMatos prepares to take on the biggest challenge of his 11-year career.
How are you, Captain? Nice to see you again. Everything good?
Kerry must guide the Zhenhua 27 safely into port. But there's a catch. The ship is carrying some of the tallest cargo cranes in the world. These brand new, top-of-the-line cranes will be installed at the port's China shipping terminal. The cranes are massive, 144 meters across and 57 meters high. That's as tall as a 17-story building. Together, they weigh nearly 6,000 metric tons. Guiding this oversized load through the port's narrow channels will be difficult enough. But the real trick will be sliding the cranes underneath the Vincent Thomas Bridge.
Come down the main channel and stop right here by the bridge and wait for the tide.
Kerry's timing must be perfect. The lowest tide of the day will occur at 1300 hours. That's Kerry's only chance to ease the Zhenhua under the bridge. But he'll only have 1.5 meters of clearance. Even a minor miscalculation could damage the ship or the bridge and potentially cost lives. Kerry's mind churns with possibilities.
What if, we lose the rudder? I've got the tug back there to steer. If we lose the engine, I can have the tug push. I can get another tug here. I'll get the ship stopped, drop the anchor. What if that sailboat cuts across in front of me right now? What am I going to do? I'm going to blow the whistle, use the stern thruster, kick the tug over. Your mind is going until you're tied up. You're thinking constantly, what if, what if, what if?
Before he sets sail, he'll review every aspect of the journey before him. Inside the harbor at APM terminals, the dock workers are hard at it, offloading the Horizon Tiger. But Estrella Esquivel has just found out about another setback that could delay her operation and the ship's departure tonight.
Usually problems just start. It's never just one problem an hour, it's like 50 in the next minute.
2 small cargo pallets, called bins, have shifted during the ship's passage.
They're pretty wedged in there pretty good.
When containers or bins are stacked on deck, they're secured together by 4 locking mechanisms called cones, one at each corner. The cones lock the corners in place and hold each stack of containers steady while the ship is in transit.
When you're out at sea, you tend to roll. If the ship starts to roll, then all the weight goes to one side and snaps back over. And you don't want to lose containers. That way you have to lock them all down.
But somehow these bins came off their cones.
This is too far out, right? And this one right here is leaning up against the cone. They're supposed to be locked because these are supposed to be directly on top. These are perfectly made for these cones to fit in there.
I'm not 100% positive how this happened. They were late due to rough seas and weather. So it could have been a weather issue.
Even though the bins are only inches out of position, the crane spreader can't get a grip to move them. Estrella must come up with another plan if she's going to stay on schedule. Port pilot Kerry DeMatos will rely on 3 tugboats to help maneuver the overloaded Zhenhua 27 through the port's narrow channels.
Because the ship is so deep in the water.
If he goes to push, he'll break all these handrails off.
Unless Kerry can get the tugs into position, they may do more harm than... At the port of Los Angeles, the biggest port in North America, port pilot Kerry DeMatos prepares to get the Zhenhua 27 underway. He's got less than an hour to make it to the Vincent Thomas Bridge, when low tide will allow him and the 4 massive cranes on board to pass underneath. But with a load this size, he's got to move slowly and carefully. There's no room for error.
All right, looks good.
And he'll need help. 3 tugboats will provide extra control as Kerry guides the oversized cargo through the port's narrow channels. But to do that, the tugs must be able to hook up to the ship.
Because the ship is so deep in the water, the tugboat's fendering won't allow them to push on the sides.
Normally, the deck of the Zhenhua 27 sits 5 meters above the waterline. In order to fit under the bridge, 22 ballast tanks around the sides and on the bottom of the ship's hull have been filled with nearly 400,000 liters of water. The extra weight sinks the ship closer to the waterline and lowers the height of the cranes. With so little hull exposed, Kerry must hunt for a spot where the tugs can get in to push or pull.
So we're going to go up forward and check the hull to make sure that there's somewhere up there that the tugs can push us sideways and line us up on the center of the bridge. Yeah, if we take a look over here, you can see that the tugboat is above the side of the hull here. So if he goes to push, he'll break all these handrails off.
Maybe there's a workable spot near the stern.
That comes in right underneath. We may be able to work with that little strip, that little tiny rubber strip down there.
Kerry checks with the tug captain.
I'd be better to put one right in front of the anchor here and work back. You'll run backwards and push on you.
Okay, fine. That's what we'll do then.
With the tugs in position, Kerry's ready to move. The ship's captain must warn other vessels to clear the way.
Long blast, yes, sir.
The first leg of this perilous journey is underway. At APM terminals, Estrella is still working out how to get 2 jammed cargo bins off the Horizon Tiger.
We need to straighten out those comb bins so that they can sail.
Ship boss Chris Aranga confirms that the crane operator can't latch onto the bins.
Every time he tries to sit down on it,
I don't want to believe it. That's just what I'm hearing.
Estrella decides to leave the bins where they are and concentrate on getting every other container around them cleared off. That will give the night crew the elbow room they need. The bins will be removed tonight.
I'm going to turn that over to my nightside partner, Joel, and he'll get that taken care of first thing.
But that means Estrella has to pick up the pace. The magic number she wants to hit is 30 moves an hour.
Let's see what the damage is here.
Checking her computer for an update, she sees the count swinging in her favor.
Hopefully we can build some kind of momentum, some kind of rhythm, and that's how we get our numbers. We'll pick this up. I'm confident. One crane here did 12 moves in the last 15 minutes, so we'll get there.
And the Horizon Tiger should leave port on schedule. Kerry cautiously pilots the Zhenhua 27 and its 4 giant cranes through the port's narrow channels towards the Vincent Thomas Bridge. He's got just 20 minutes to get there.
Midship! Midship!
But it's slow going. The cranes span 144 meters, and Kerry's about to enter a section of the channel that's not much wider.
So it's going to be really tight in here, and we're just going to have to stay on top of it. Everything's got to be slow, slow, slow.
The 3 tugs nudge and cajole, helping Kerry ease the ship through this constricted passage.
Starboard 342. We're actually starting to arc around to starboard here, which is perfect. We've got about a mile to go, a little less.
Now the bridge looms near. But he's ahead of schedule.
So we're all in position. We just have to slow down and wait for this tide to drop to a certain level so we can actually fit under the bridge. Let's go ahead and stop the engine. Stuffing.
Kerry must wait until low tide before he moves ahead. In the meantime, he arranges for some help from on high to ensure the cranes clear the bridge.
We're going to have 2 pilots climb up on top of these cranes for when we go under the bridge. There'll be 1 pilot on this tower and 1 pilot on that tower. They're going to be up there with radios giving us the height, how much clearance we have on the bridge. The math is done correctly, somewhere around 4 feet on the high spots going through the center. So it'll fit as long as the weather cooperates.
Kerry's biggest enemy today is the wind. Even a light breeze could cause a crash.
Feeling a little wind. I don't know the direction right now. You feeling it? Yeah, maybe 4 or 5 knots. I can see the flags blowing towards us.
But the gust subsides.
Here we go.
It's as if the whole world has stopped, waiting for 1,300 hours. It's low tide. Time for Kerry's ultimate test.
How's the height? We okay?
Once he starts this perilous passage, there will be no turning back. At the port of Los Angeles, harbor pilot Kerry DeMatos is about to face the challenge of a lifetime. In just 2 minutes, he must sail some of the world's biggest cranes under the Vincent Thomas Bridge, with just 1.5 meters to spare. After years of designing and building the cranes, shipping them here from China, planning the approach, and waiting for just the right conditions, it's all come down to this moment. Kerry radios his tug captains to ensure the Zhenhua 27 is exactly on course.
5 feet, you're in line with the first vertical girder.
Okay. Start pull easy.
Carrier stern is opening to the right.
I'm pulling it now.
Then he checks in with the spotters on top of the cranes.
How's the height? We okay?
There's one final safety precaution to take before he moves through. Port police need to close the bridge.
P20, Roger. We're lined up now. We're in position. Go ahead and close down all traffic, both east and westbound.
The vibration caused by the traffic could reduce the clearance. And if the cranes do hit, better there's no one up there. At exactly 1,300 hours, Kerry gives the go-ahead.
Sure it's close, huh, Captain?
I can see from here the cranes are going to clear.
Thank you. Forward crane is under. The number 1's already through, Captain.
1 down, 3 to go.
Wow. Unbelievable. There we go.
The final crane passes by unscathed. Kerry has just moved nearly 6,000 metric tons of metal within spitting distance of a major bridge. It's a gold medal performance. Docking the ship is a cakewalk compared to what he's just accomplished.
What a day. Unbelievable. Just a lot of adrenaline running, and it all paid off. It went really well.
The China shipping terminal now has a brand new set of cranes. One more successful delivery in the non-stop flow of cargo at the port of LA. It takes both brains and brawn to keep America's busiest port running day in and day out.
Long blast, yes, sir.
The harbor pilots who guide ships safely through port waters.
Hard to port, it's like a chess game. You're watching all the pieces move, and you're plotting them and what you're going to do to avoid them.
The operations managers that keep the goods flowing.
The focus is get these ships in, get these ships out, and make sure everybody goes home at the end of the day.
All right, copy that. That's the beauty of this job. Every day is different. You never know what you're going to get.
The cruise terminal team that makes sure every cruise sails fully stocked and on time.
sometimes you have to be creative, you know, find different ways to make it still happen. It's not always easy, but we try.
And the port police, who keep the entire operation secure.
To me, I feel like each one of us are doing a small part to help the American economy and America in general.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. These are the people who keep this West Coast nerve center ship shape.